I was reading about another outrage of the U.S. government where they are, it's not bad enough that they already think that they have the right to help themselves do whatever you want, and that the police have become worse than the highway robbers of old, because when they need more money for their coffers, they just stop a few other people on the streets, plant drugs on them, and seize all their cash. And there are lots of stories about that. I don't need to go into it. But now, as if that wasn't enough, now they want to expand this money laundering bullshit to include cryptocurrencies, gift cards, and other things that they have not previously reported, and deputize people at convenience stores who are selling these cards, these prepaid gift cards, etc., to make suspicious transaction reports. It seems there is no end to what this government will go to in its ever-expanding lust for power. And I can see that I made the right decision 20 years ago, or 22 years ago now almost, when I decided to leave the United States and come to Costa Rica, and I've been living a much better life ever since. But that doesn't mean that I've forgotten the people that I've left behind in the United States. And so I have been asking myself what I can do to assist people to free themselves. But of course, unless you have an open mind, and unless you want to learn, then it's not going to do any good, because the answer is not simple, and the answer is not easy, and it takes a lot of study and a lot of work, and a lot of people are allergic to the work today. However, I've decided to offer this to my listeners that are viewing this on whatever channel, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Liberty Me or Steemit. I've decided, because I have knowledge of how you can free yourself from this oppressive government tyranny. Now, up until now, those who have been offering this information are charging thousands of dollars. I think the cheapest is like $2,000 or $3,000 for a book and some tear-out forms that you can use. But that is not even as good as what I know how to do now, because I am one of the few people around that knows how to structure yourself and how to cut the ties to the government. So I've decided that I'm going to start a series of free lessons through these channels, and I think we're going to do some live Google Hangouts and a few other things, because it is time that you claimed your sovereignty back. It is time that you did it correctly, because if you do it correctly, there's nothing the tyrants can do to you anymore. And so I'm going to be sharing this information, which I used to charge $10,000 or $20,000 for. I'm going to be sharing this information for free in the next coming weeks. Now, it takes a lot of study. Now, I've got to post some video of Jordan Maxwell and some other things, because you need to get the basis. You need to understand your status. You need to understand who and what you are, and who and what the corporate fiction is that your birth certificate created. And you need to learn how to do this right. Because there's actually many choices, because this is a scam that the government has perpetrated on the people, and they're now freaking out because they're losing control. Well, what I'm going to do is open this up to anybody who wants to join it. Now, as far as the paperwork is concerned, I cannot freely distribute that, but I'm going to be freely distributing these lessons to explain to you how to do it. And I have the paperwork to back it up. Now, some of you will choose to donate to me, and that's great. You can use many different formats, and I'm going to explain in the post below and put some links in the post below. I accept Bitcoin, NIM, not NIM, Bitcoin, Monero, Dash, let's see what else, and a few other of the cryptocurrencies I'm accepting. And I also can accept Payza and even PayPal in a pinch, although I prefer not to, because you need to get this information. But I want to provide a channel for you to donate some of the something back if you feel that it's worth it to you. And you know, some of you on Steemit, you can upvote my posts and efforts. Now, I think I will begin this today. I've got to look up where the presentation is, but I have in my archives a great presentation from Jordan Maxwell, where he basically lays the foundation. Because you see, the government is not what you think it is. And the educational institutions are not what you think they are. And the press and the media is not what you think they are. Nothing is what it appears in this hall of mirrors. And they are purposely engendering increasingly escalating violence and terrorism in order to get people to comply with their wicked and evil system, so that you will become a slave to the corporate United States and ultimately the corporate world government. But you can free yourself today. And now, I know that some anarchists have had some good luck with some of the things that they're doing, some of the arguments that they're doing. But there is a way to get your paperwork in order so that you don't mess up. Because if you say one wrong thing in court and do one wrong thing in court, they are going to throw you in jail and throw away the key. But if it's done right, then you have no business being in court in the first place. Which is what I told a client of mine who didn't bother listening to me. He preferred to pay about $20,000 to one of these rip-off so-called patriots, and that's spelled with P-A-Y-T-R-I-O-T, patriot, who is selling him a bill of goods, because this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. He talks a good game, and there's a lot of people like that who are talking a good game, but they don't have a clue, really, as to what they're doing. And there are some that do. There are some that do. But normally, these people are high-priced, even for snake oil, even for things that do not work. Well, what I will give you are the common sense materials that you need, the common sense logic that you need to arm yourself to get the government off your back. Now, I did a series earlier, I believe both in Steemit and Liberty Me, last summer, I did a series of 3 videos where I described this, and I believe I linked to my podcast where I go into more detail, and that would be good material to give yourself a flavor. So if you look back at my previous posts, you will see what I'm talking about, and you can avail yourself of that material there. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get serious, and we're going to tell you how to solve this problem, because there is no reason for your life to get flushed down the toilet because of some petty bureaucrat and a nosy government that is totally out of control. You need to divorce yourself from the government, and you need to do this right, and then you can live free at last. Because in your current status, you don't have rights, you just have privileges. So you need to turn this around so that you have rights again and not privileges, and can tell the thugs to bugger off. So anyway, that's the introduction, and we're going to follow this up, I believe, with a presentation by Jordan Maxwell. I've got some other things that you need to hear before we really get into this, because you need to understand who you are, what your status is, and what they have done, and then you can begin to undo the damage. So, until next time, this is M. John Allen saying goodbye, everybody.